Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I've been pretty busy myself with this and that, but here we are with another Q&A video, something that gives you viewers a voice and possibly some answers for inquiring minds. So let's get to it. Did you ever meet anyone that's been involved in the 1978 Lufthansa heist? Yes, I actually knew Vinny Asaro, but other than him, I don't believe personally I met anyone else. Do you think Joseph Librano is boss material in the future for the Lucchese family? I'll say this. If you would have asked me this question years ago, my answer would be much different. However, in 2026, the mob is far removed from its former self. There are guys who are straightened out now that most likely couldn't even be an associate years ago. So nothing would surprise me in present day. And my answer is no knock to Librano. I think he would agree with me that certain guys shouldn't be part of that life. The following question was asked in two different ways. Does having family in law enforcement preclude an associate from becoming a member? And can an associate whose father and brother is a cop get made? Same question, same answer. An associate who has a member of his family in law enforcement, be it a father or a brother, can get straightened out. That's here in the United States. Years ago in Italy and Sicily, this wasn't allowed. And I don't know if this still holds true in present day. During your time in that life, did you ever hear anyone discuss Freemasonry? Was there active members that you knew about? No, I never heard anyone discuss that topic at all. I only knew of one person that was a Mason, but he wasn't a member of that life. This was more popular in Italy and Sicily. Compared to the other members of his crew, did Dom Tricello have a high opinion of Tino Corso? I'll say this. Dom was a character who didn't bite his tongue. During my time, his opinion of the guys in his crew were not very high. But he did like Tino. After all, he made him his acting captain. You previously mentioned crossing paths with Ndrangeta members. Any interactions with Australian Ndrangeta? Do you know if American Cosa Nostra have ever had dealings with Australian Ndrangeta? As I've mentioned, I've only had one interaction with the Ndrangeta and never met anyone from Australia. If Cosa Nostra here in the US had any dealings with Australian Ndrangeta, I was unaware of it. The majority of the people in New York dealt strictly with other guys from New York, with the exceptions of the surrounding states. You mentioned in a previous comment about your interactions with Charles Caniglia. Did you ever meet his brother John while I was a kid? You know, it's funny. Someone left me a message in the comments. I responded with a personal story. And as soon as I typed it, I said to myself, someone will read it and have questions. Anyway, yes, I did meet John as well, and he actually bought me my pajamas while I was in a hospital as a kid. My mother was shopping on Liberty Avenue in the now-closed men's store, Dad's Son, and John happened to be in the store, and that's how I got the pajamas. As a kid, I was also friendly with John's son, Chris. Why did Paul Castellano allow the Sicilian faction to deal heroin and not the Gotti crew? And this is a question that often comes up. There's actually two short answers: nepotism and hypocrisy. Carlo Gambino and Paul Castellano were relatives with the Cherry Hill Gambinos, so they basically turned a blind eye with an open palm. Castellano was receiving a great deal of drug money from the Sicilian faction. The Gotti crew, on the other hand, couldn't kick any drug dealing money up because dealing drugs was forbidden. The Gotti crew also was considered competition in the drug trade with the Sicilian faction. So for Castellano, he wasn't making a dime from the Gotti crew in regard to their drug dealing, and they were also taking business away from his relatives. Hypocritical, but extremely common in that life because it's full of politics. And this is why one crew got to push junk and the other crew was expected to follow the no drug rule. Did you know Gambino associate Mark Liverano? I never heard of him and never met him. Apparently, after his wife filed for a divorce, Liverano, who's presently incarcerated at MDC pending an indictment, according to reports, made threats against her and her kids and is being accused of leaving a fake bomb outside of the door of her house in Staten Island. In cases of mass arrest of administration and captains, who takes over? Or does everyone wait for the administration to get bail? You'll have certain captains that will get together. Most arrests doesn't include every single captain, and they'll wait for word on how to proceed. Just because people get arrested doesn't mean that communication stops. There's always someone or several people who can step into acting positions if need be. Here's a question sent to me outside of YouTube. Do you think Ernie Grillo will ever be the boss of the Gambinos? Well, Blaze Caruso told me that he believes so. In my opinion, I would say if not boss, I could very well see Ernie with an administrative position. I recently responded to a question asking, since Mickey Boy has passed, will the Gambinos put Ernie back on the shelf? Not only is that never happening, but let me refresh viewers' memory. Ernie was sent to Sicily as an emissary for the Sicilian faction. That fact alone is a testament of how they hold him in such high regard. I know Ernie very well. We were together in prison and on the street as members of that life. Everything Ernie does is calculated. And if he has eyes on the boss position, nothing but an indictment is going to stop him. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sitdownnews, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. And for the final question, how much culture shock did you experience when you were released from prison and saw for the first time how certain neighborhoods had changed demographically or had been gentrified by the hipsters? Do you think New York City is a better city today, or was it better in the 80s? Anyone being released from prison after spending any great length of time will naturally have to deal with a culture shock, just as one does entering prison. In my case, I had been forewarned as to what was going on outside as far as changes. But even with that forewarning, it definitely was a shock to me. For instance, about a day or two after I was released, I had to take the train into the city. And when I went into the station, I asked an MTA worker, which happened to be a woman, where I could buy a token. She looked up at me and pulled me to the side and lowered her voice and said, "Did you just come home?" She knew right away and explained that tokens were no longer being used. It was strange seeing some neighborhoods, like Ozone Park, once replete with Italians, that now look like India or Pakistan. The world had changed in a big way. One initial observation was that everyone was walking around with cell phones. And this is something specifically why I viewed this world I came home to as preoccupied. The hipsters, in essence, changed what most viewed as bad neighborhoods, not only into good ones, but expensive ones. So they actually did good for society. New York City in the 80s, in comparison to present day, is far worse in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I wish you all a great weekend. Ciao.